the other traits. Please help me welcome Advanced Communicator Silver and Advanced Leader Silver, Tamala Takahashi.
I am not a dog person. They're stinky, smelly, drooly, barky, hairy, and floppy, and need lots of attention. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, tonight I'm going to tell you how I, not the dog person, ended up owning a dog. All my adult life, I've owned cats, up until 3 years ago. And I had a cat. He was a white, fluffy cat with orange spots. His name was Lestat. His sister, we had another cat. His sister was named Claudia. He was the best cat. He was so loving and friendly. He wanted to go up to anybody and purr and snuggle, wants to be in your lap all the time. But about 3 years ago, he was getting old, and he got cancer and had liver problems and eventually passed away. It was very sad. About 6 months after Lestat passed away, I woke up one day, and for some reason, I have absolutely no idea why, I started to just want to get information about dogs. It was almost as if I was in a trance. And I went to the internet and started doing research about dogs. I wanted to find out if it was possible to get a dog that didn't drool. If it was possible to get a dog that wasn't hairy and needed to be groomed every week. I wanted to know if it was possible to get a dog that wasn't aggressive, that wouldn't jump on me, that wouldn't bark all the time. So I looked on the internet to try to find this magical perfect dog, and apparently it doesn't exist. But I did learn that if you get a purebred dog, that purebred dogs have a lot of great qualities, but purebred dogs always have some sort of downside. And that if you want to get a dog that has more positive qualities and less of the destructive or drooly or aggressive qualities, get a mixed breed. Well, where's the best place to get a mixed breed dog?
Pound.
At the pound, the rescue center. So then, for some reason, I don't know why, I felt the sudden urge to go to the rescue center, the animal rescue shelter. Now, when I got there, I had in my mind that I didn't want to get a dog, because all dogs are stinky and drooly and hairy and barky. So I went into the shelter with this idea that if there's a hairy, barky, smelly, drooly dog, I'm not going to get it. So I started walking down the aisle, and on either side of the aisle, they had these cages, and there were 1 or 2 dogs in each cage, and part of the cage was inside and part was outside. So you could see the dogs through the cage, and they're on either side. And all along the row, there were dogs, barking, jumping. They wanted so bad to be adopted. And although my heartstrings went out to them, I wanted to adopt them all in theory. Because I wanted them to be happy. I just didn't want to be the one to make them happy. Someone else made them happy. They were all jumping, and they were all drooling, and they were all hairy. I got towards the end of the row, and I was almost ready to give up. And all of a sudden, I see to my left this dog sitting behind his cage with all 4 of his paws on the floor, looking up at me. He tilts his head. His little ear goes, oh. And he just sits there looking at me. He wasn't barking. He wasn't jumping. He wasn't drooling. And he was a short-haired dog. He was also small. He was about this big. And he just stood there. So I said to the volunteer, I said, I want to meet that dog, please. And I meet him. So they took me and the dog and the kids that I dragged with me. They were wondering what the heck we were doing there, because Mom hates dogs. Why are we doing here? Took us to a room where they had 2 chairs and a table and nothing else. Just some space where we could get to know the dog. I sat down in a chair, and the volunteer put the dog on the ground. And he scooted over, came around underneath the chair, laid down on the floor, and put his head between my feet. And then he looked up at me.
Oh.
And he stayed there. While I was petting him and talking to him, he didn't bark, he didn't jump, he just sat there and was cute. I immediately called my husband and said, "You need to meet a dog." My husband didn't reply. Then he said, "Is this my wife?" "Yes, you need to meet a dog." He didn't understand why. I couldn't explain to him why. You just need to meet him. I don't want to get him, just need to meet him. So I drive to go get my husband and bring him back to the shelter to meet the dog. We don't talk the whole way because I don't even know why I'm doing this. It was almost as if I was being possessed by some kind of spirit or something. But I bring my husband to the shelter and my husband meets the dog. My husband and I don't talk. We don't say a word to each other. He just meets the dog. I didn't say anything about getting the dog or anything. Just, you have to meet him. And my husband looks at me and says, "Okay, we'll get him." And I thought, oh, no, wait, I'm not sure. Hold on. So I go out to the front desk to ask about, well, what do we have to do if we want to adopt a dog? And I find out there's another person out in the front desk ready to adopt that dog.
No.
And suddenly I realized, I want to take this dog home. Somebody else wants this dog. It's my dog. We had a moment. This is my dog. So I gathered the kids, I gathered my husband, I took the dog, and I stood in front of the guy, and we all looked at him, all 6 of us, with puppy dog eyes, and explained to him how we've never had a dog. This is our first dog. The kids need a dog, and gave him a sob story that worked. He gave up the dog and let us adopt the dog, and we named him Dexter. Now we have a dog named Dexter. We've had him for 3 years. And the interesting thing is when we adopted him, we found out that he was 9 months old, almost exactly to the day that my cat had passed away. He has the same personality. He has the same coloring. He's very much like our cat. He wants to be a cat, but he is a dog, unfortunately. He cannot be a cat. So I don't know what came over me that day, why I decided to go look for a dog. But this is what I think. I think I didn't adopt Dexter.
Yeah.
I think Dexter adopted me.
Yeah.